so my name's James Watts, and these are the CakePHP core interviews. We're with Christian Winther, also known as Jippi. So first question, why are you called Jippi?
That's a good question. When I was in school, I had a page with a friend called Nuland, which is like news, fancy page for news. So my full name, also like 5 years ago, was Jippi Gnu. And we had this page, and I was very much like a hippie in school, and Jippi and hippie is pretty close. So for some reason, people at school started to call me Jippi Gnu, and then it just kind of escalated from there. It's like I was always running around in Hawaii shirts, even during the winter, like shorts, and I had a scarf on. It's like totally crazy. It's like I was just a flipper. I was just mostly sleeping in the library at the school and not attending classes and just being all around weird.
Okay, so how did you get involved with open source then?
Well, I think like most other guys, I had my own framework, because you have to have that. You have to write at least 2 or 3 frameworks in your lifetime as a developer. And I was like getting tired of maintaining both that and having my company where I actually made websites. So it's kind of, I was lazy. I found a framework that could solve the problems I had, and Cake just fitted that very well. Before I chose Cake, I was through like Zen framework and a few other frameworks that do no longer exist. But Cake just resonated with me in a way that it was rapid, which is very nice, and it had a lot of features that I wanted. Like I personally spent in my own framework like a month doing a paginator component, and I just had it for free in Cake. So it was like, I have my company, so it makes financial sense to just not do everything, and then it was just more awesome to just get stuff for free.
Right. So you started with open source. How did you actually move into the project? Because you've got kind of a different history, because you were actually part of the core, then you weren't, and now you've come back again. So you've seen the project over like 2 periods of time.
Yeah.
So how did you become a contributor to the project itself?
Well, the first time it was basically because I started using it, and at the time I was using Postgres, and the database adapter for Postgres in 1.0 and forward wasn't very well maintained. There was not many people who used it, so I kind of adopted having the maintenance of that. So I just keep improving the database adapter over and over and over, and from there it basically just expanded into my maintaining other part of the framework as well. And so it just came naturally because I used it every day for like 5 years in a row. So of course you hit bugs and stuff like that. And I think people just got tired of me just submitting bug reports. So at some point they said like, okay, you're a core developer now, you can fix your own problems. Right. So I did, and I think that was great.
And so you were around in the real early days,
yeah,
and now you're around in the later days, and we're also moving towards 3.0.
Yeah.
How have you seen the framework progress in that time?
Oh, it's changed so much. I mean, the reason why I left in the first place back in the days was actually because they started to enforce strict rules like unit testing and stuff like that. And at that time I couldn't really appreciate those. So I was like, okay, this is too much, I don't have time for this. I had my company on the side, so it's like, okay, I'm just going to back out. But now coming back to it again, as a core developer, the quality of the code has improved dramatically since I left. Like there's a good code coverage, that's well documented, the book is amazing now. And the communities have just grown up so much compared to when we started like 5 or 6 years ago. Right. So it's much more like unified today. And with the community stuff like you're doing now, it just feels more like a mature framework in its own right now. Right. Which definitely can compete with some of the larger frameworks like Symfony. So yeah, it's just grown up.
So you're involved with the project now in a pretty exciting time because we're moving towards 3.0.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of CakePHP going based on everything that's happening now with the changes between 2.x and 3.0?
Yeah, I think we're going into a future where things in the behind gets way more flexible. You get a more mature code base that actually uses the modern technologies we have today. Like recently we started bundling a Redis handler for caching and stuff like that, which is a very nice handler. And going forward to Cake 3, the database layer is rewritten and it's a lot faster. The code is much more maintainable, documented, and it doesn't have all the legacy baggage we have from 2.x, where it's just hotfix and hotfix and hotfix, and at some point someone is saying like, okay, I'm not really confident about trusting this code anymore, because there's like 10 hotfixes on top of each other. So I think forward will be Cake 3 will be a much more flexible framework, and it will be much more flexible in the way that we can adapt it faster to the changes the community want from Cake.
Right.
So we don't have all the baggage.
And from a product perspective, what would you say CakePHP's winning features are? What is it that sells Cake?
To me, it's that it's very rapid, and you basically, when you get started, you can just extract the package and you're done. You have to change like 2 or 3 things for security measures, but other than that, you're basically ready. And from there, you have the very nice blog tutorial and stuff like that. So it's easy to work with, and you don't have to think too much about configuration until you actually need them.
Right.
If you just rely on some very simple rules about inflection of rules like database tables and fields, then you basically get so much for free, so you don't have to think about it.
So there's a lot of active development going on now, particularly behind 3.0. How would you encourage people to get involved in that process?
Okay, 3.0?
For 3.0.
I would say just check out the branches that is in progress, follow the pull requests that's there. There's a very active discussions on all the pull requests that primarily Mark and Jose is doing. And that's basically what everyone should do, is just start having a discussion. That's how actually I came back to the core again. I just starting like reviewing all the pull requests that came in, added my 50 cents to them, and at some point I just got invited back again. Because Cake as a community loves feedback from the community, and if you have some valid points, it's relatively easy in my opinion to get into the core and actually get a voice in the community and the core.
Right.
It doesn't really take, you don't really have to be like hardcore technical in any way. If you just have an opinion and it makes sense, then you're more than welcome.
Right, CakePHP is very much a project built by the community.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, this has been Christian Winther, also known as Jippi, because he was a hippie, and we're done.